We'll check it out, make sure we're live, and say hello to everybody. Got a couple people in the background I know, so that's always good. Let's just make sure we're there. We are. Say hello to everybody, Brad.
Good evening.
All
How's it
right.
going?
Yeah, we're just trying to get our technical difficulties straightened out here. Thanks for being patient, but we'll let some people roll in. Busy day, always busy day.
Yes. Another day, another dollar, right?
Yeah, yeah. I actually went and looked at a collection today of a guy that's kind of just selling excess records, that he has. So picked up a couple just because they were there. But it's actually somebody who opened the door. He goes, "Oh, that is you." I'm like, "Excuse me." He said, "Yeah, I've watched all your videos. I thought that knew that name." I said, "Okay."
Yeah, finally kind of made the link there, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So good. Well, the good news is when we do these, it's fine. I mean, but the ability to replay them or whatever is always there. So I'm going to turn my light down a bit because yours. I don't know if yours is really low. I don't know. Do you
Yeah,
have
it's
do you have a light?
no. Well, let me see.
Not
Maybe I
facing
got
you.
one that's a little bit better. Hang on just a
Okay. There we go. There we
Nope. That's as good as it gets.
go. Wow,
It's
you
just
look
kind
like
of
you're in the
dark.
dark.
Yeah, I'm in my office and I
I
wish it
need
was better.
I need to give you a light. Get your ring light.
Yeah, I do need one of those. I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
Have to add that to the wish list or the
Add that to
Amazon wish list.
the Nick wish list because Nick that's what Nick was doing, buying all this stuff.
Yeah.
He's getting all set up. See if I get my TV turned on so I can move my PowerPoint slides there. All right. Well, everybody, we only got a few people in here, but thanks for joining. So, as we did many, many months ago and expected to do sooner than this, but life always seems to get in the way, right? It's you just some things you can't control.
Ain't that the
But
truth?
ain't that the truth? But yeah, so we've got 7 people in here. Thanks for joining. So we're going to be doing our results of a vinyl shootout that Brad and I have been working on. This is Brad Stanford, or Brad Vinyl Rush, as he's called. Uh, you hope that they're not going to, put that on your tombstone, Brad's Final Rush.
You never know. It won't be up to me. So
That's right. Like I said, when that happens, I really won't give a, what.
yeah, exactly. That's
my
right.
my attitude's going to change completely. So,
Yep.
um, so anyway, so we both had the idea was to take the two Mobile Fidelity silver labels of Tears for Fears releases that MoFi had released back in 2012. The songs from The Big Chair, which is up here, and Sowing the Seeds of Love, which is right up there. And yeah, it's even darker. So to kind of compare those to the originals and to look at how they did. One of the things about the silver label, of course, is that the reason it's a silver label is they can't verify for sure they have the original tape, or there's a question of something in the process that makes it such that they're not going to say original master recording across the top or OMR like they do the others. And this has been true this was before the DSD thing, again, 2012. So this has been what they've been doing when they ran across any kind of tape omission or tape data where they weren't positive what they had. So, and they were usually probably $5 to $10 cheaper, maybe, if somewhere in there.
Something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, and I think they were 140 gram vinyl, if I remember. So,
Hmm.
so anyway,
Yeah. I
So
was thinking, David, we should share kind of what prompted this in the first place,
please go ahead. Yeah.
which, as I recall, and you can fill in the blanks if you want, but as we when we had kind of got connected, we had kind of shared one of the initial, kind of shared um, albums that we enjoy a lot is this one, The Tipping Point, which was the new album from 2022, early 2022. Yep, there you go. And in fact, David and I actually ended up seeing them in concert in Austin on, I think it was July 17th, I believe it
I
was,
think that was it.
on this tour. And I think through that experience and just, kind of thinking about things, and we're like, hey, it'd be a good idea to maybe do our next double header should be a couple of the classic Tears for Fears albums. And so here we are after all
Right.
this time.
Yep, exactly. And so we're both big fans of the band. As a matter of fact, one of the three albums I bought today was another sealed copy of Tipping Point with the 7-inch single. And
Nice.
the reason is I'm coming up on my 3,000 subscribers, and I'm going to have a big online party and giveaways, and this will be one of my giveaways
Oh,
of several.
well, I
So
don't I don't think you could pick one better, honestly. Like, here's
right,
I got both the black one and the Target one with the 7-inch. And I know this album is not the focus of our shootout or discussion tonight, but
right,
I'll plug it any chance I get. If you don't have
yeah,
that album, get it. It's fantastic.
yeah. No, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, it is. And like it was my number one album of the year last year, and so I think it really was worthy of. They always seem, and I was reading the booklet that you were talking about there earlier with the Blu-ray and the disc version of Seeds of Love, because I hadn't really even opened it, to be honest, and that was how they really were trying to make Seeds different than Big Chair,
Yep.
and I think they really tried to make Point bigger, different than anything they did before too.
And it is.
So and it is, and it
It
is,
is.
and it is,
Yeah.
it is in a good way. So
Yeah, and I'll talk about that CD box during my my portion. Yeah. It's
yeah,
very interesting.
yeah. So yeah, if you would like this and share it, we only got 4 people, 5 people right now, but if you would as well, I'd appreciate that. And without further ado, I guess I'll go ahead and start to get the presentation piece ready. And one thing we do with these is we will tell you all what equipment we're using so that becomes, part of understanding how we do what we do. Um, my listening criteria is my own. In other words, Brad's going to talk about his, where he has some other independent folks in the home to help. I don't have the advantage of that, but but I am able to A/B those real time, as opposed to using just memory on that. So I think that's helpful. So let me go ahead and get ready to share this and see how the technology is working tonight. Ta-da!
Perfect.
Get lucky once in a while, right? All
Exactly.
right. All right. So our shootout equipment. Um, Mine is very meager relative to Brad, and but I think it sounds good. Brad, you were at my house. You heard it with the Abbey Road,
Yep.
so I think it's decent.
It's no, it
uh,
sounds very good. Don't
yeah.
don't sell it short.
So I got two dual 1245 turntables, which each have an Accutex 410E cartridge, which I will be upgrading those here in the next week or two. Bought some new cartridges, and the ones that I'm buying will be basically the same. I'll tell you more about that later. I have an AB switch between the turntables, and Phono Stage's Graham Lee Graham Amp 2 Special Edition, which really was a big bump up, although the NAD has a very decent phono stage for an integrated. Uh, Integrated amp is an NAD 3140 back from the 80s. I have Polk Audio RTA 11TL speakers. I have four of them actually, because I also have a quad setup. And my headphones I use when I'm doing these is a Sony MDR V6. Brad, we'll let you speak to your system.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. I've got a VPI classic turntable with a classic 3-tone arm. Really love that table. That was kind of my upgrade from a Riga that I actually still have. And I upgraded about a year ago to an Ortofon 2M Black, the LVB 250,
Okay.
so-called Ludwig von Beethoven 250 anniversary cartridge from the 2M Blue. And it was a huge improvement, to say the least.
Personally approved by Mr. Van Beethoven. It's amazing.
It must have been, yeah, yeah, from the grave.
Right.
And the phono preamp I use is the Parasound Z Phono XRM. Use the Shit Freya S preamplifier.
Hmm.
Did not go with the I forget which one that is the tube version, but I just didn't want to go down the tube road. My amp is a Parasound New Classic 2125, the version 2. Speakers are the Tecton Designs Enzo XL. This is the 4 ohm version. I also use a SVS subwoofer as well, the SB2000 Pro. And then I use Blue Jean cables, balanced XLR throughout where I can, and regular RCA where there's not balanced connections. Those are very good cables. If you're looking for good cables for a low price, they're very, very good. And one of the reasons I selected all of these is they're all American made. That was just something I wanted to do. It's kind of important for me. So to support our American jobs and whatnot here in the States. So that's where I
Great.
went. Yep.
Great. All right. Thanks. Okay. So that's the equipment that we used. So I'm going to go first because it's the older of the albums. This was the Mobile Fidelity version of Songs from the Big Chair, 2012 release on this particular record. Silver label, 140 gram. And the mastering chain, we talked a lot about mastering chains with the DSD gate and everything, but this one was half inch, 30 inch per second analog copy to analog console to lathe. So it was some form of a copy. In other words, we don't know if it was a safety copy. Uh, all we know is they got an analog tape and they couldn't confirm that it's the original. So I think we can leave it at that. Um, it was mastered on the Mobile Fidelity Gain 2 Ultra Analog System by Paul Stubblebine. And his name will come up again when we talk about this. But he was a kind of an interim guy that was doing stuff in 2012 and 2013. So not a guy that had the most seniority or any of that kind of thing. He had a lot of experience outside of MoFi, but he was relatively new to MoFi when he did these. And the silver label titles are again pressed on some more standard weight vinyl. And the majority, as it says, are sourced from original tapes, they say, but there are some exceptions when the best available source is used. Digital sources are not used unless the case is where the title's original master was digital itself. Now, this is right out of Mobile Fidelity's statement about the Silver Series. Now, I don't know that they've been releasing a lot of Silver Series anymore, to be honest with you. There was kind of a spate of time that they did this.
Yeah, not in a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no new titles really.
right. So we'll be using that as the baseline to look at and then compare it to a UK original. Again, this was February 25th, 85 when it came out on Mercury. And that is, that's what that, why didn't that other thing come up? I don't know why the other thing did come up. But anyway, the US one that I have is a first press also. Hapag, New York pressing, usually has a 53 stamp on it. That's mastered as Sterling Sound by Greg Calby. And the other comparison that I have, where is it? Come on, where's my mouse? There it is. I also have an EU first press, not a UK, but an EU. So I have an EU, a UK, and a US. And this is on Mercury, mastered at the Polygram, PRS's Polygram Record Services. So that's what that's about. So leaving that there. So then we take these side by side and start to look at what are the differences between them. So I've given you the information on the mastering engineers. Nick Webb is the guy who did actually the UK press. He did the actual mastering of that, and that is at a place they call the Penthouse, the upper part of Abbey Road Studios, is where that was done. So the first thing I look at in these is comparing the basically comparing the quietness of the vinyl. And basically, when it came to these, the MoFi was the quietest. I gave it an 8 out of 10, so it was not dead silent. Probably the worst was the US press. It was like a 6 out of 10. The UK and the EU were 7 out of 10. So they were definitely less noisy than the US, but not quite as free of noise than the MoFi. So it was better than the US, but not quite as good as the MoFi. And I'm going to comment right now that the UK and the EU presses were pretty much on par with each other. And they had very similar stampings inside. They had the EU one had one extra marking on it. So it probably may have come from the same plates. The noise level being there in terms of the vinyl's quietness, looking back then at how loud is the actual record when you are listening to it. And what I do there is I set the baseline at the MoFi. And so if it is 3 dB quieter than the others all were on par with each other, but the MoFi was 3 dB quieter than the US, the UK, and the EU. They were louder. So I had to make adjustments for that when switching back and forth. All right. So what are we talking about when it comes to actual songs? What I did was take a sampling of several songs to do this. And let me just do this. Let me just remove that for now. Yeah, get back to us. Okay, there we go. So what I did is I took a sampling of 4. I said 4 songs, but it's really 5. But A Broken and Head Over Heels are kind of together always in my book.
True.
So I did Shout, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, I Believe, and then Broken and Head Over Heels. So what I'll do is start with the MoFi, then talk about the US, and then talk about the UK/EU, because they are, like I said, in the same ballpark. So the MoFi right out of the box, the very beginning of Shout has those percussions and bell-like sounds at the very beginning. And there was some semblance, light semblance that was in that percussion. And the echo that was coming from that really stayed like within the speaker itself. The sound stage is relatively flat. The sound is kind of walled off somewhat on the MoFi, and it kind of is at the outer edge of the listening. And what I did a graphic here that I want to show you that will kind of show you what that looks like from the perspective of someone who is in fact listening to it. How do I put that back up? Come on. It's got remove. I don't want to remove. I want to put it up there. Add to stage. Okay, there we go. So let me show you this. Go up to the... So here's, if you're sitting in front here, the chair's down below here, and you got your speakers. on the mobile Fidelity, here's kind of how the sound is. It kind of it kind of stays pushed back toward where the speakers are. That just kept happening over and over again. And the sound stage of it stays fairly boxed in. It really doesn't come out. And then there's this, and Phil Spector wasn't involved, I don't think, but the wall, the wall of, it's like everything stays very compartmentalized in this. And unfortunately, good news is this record has a lot more to it than that, and you'll see that in a moment. So it was very obvious to me when going back and forth that this kind of was the overarching feel of the way this sounded. And some of the sounds felt like they were trapped in the speaker, I guess is the best way that I can put that.
Hmm.
So, giving you details on songs, some of these themes are going to, they're going to echo back again, and so that's why I wanted to get that out of the way because that's kind of just the way it is. And so when you go to the U.S. press, again, there's some sibilance at the beginning. It's a little worse actually than the MoFi, but the echoes and the openness of it does come out, and it hangs in the air more, and the sound stage of the percussion is very broad there, and all of the beats kind of pull out, as do the UK and the EU press as well. So essentially what that looks like is it starts to come out towards you, and then the sound stage is larger, and as it's flowing it kind of comes at you even from the side with this openness that it's got, so it
Hmm.
gets much closer to you than being inside the speakers. Because one thing I do when I listen is I close my eyes, and it's kind of like, can I tell where the sound is coming from? Is it towards me? Is it staying back where the speaker is? What really is happening? And the other presses, aside from the MoFi, all had more of this kind of a capability right here than was in the MoFi. So that is a very common difference between them, right? Different experience. So let me get back to my StreamYard here. Okay. All right. So that is now when it comes to the sound of Shout, when it came to the UK and the EU, there definitely was even less semblance, almost, I'm not going to say almost none, but it was close to none. But the driving and the fullness sound towards the listener was even more aggressive than on the US. So it was, when I got done with this, I said, it's like the USOG, it's a little quieter, and you get at least 10% more impact than you did in the US press. I mean, I tried to
Hmm.
just pick a number, right? It was
Interesting.
just like, yeah.
Okay.
So it's like it was a very similar mold, but it definitely had a little more reinforcement behind it across the board. And so Shout was a really good way to start, with that impactful kind of thing, as was then moving on to Everybody Wants to Rule the World, where the vocals felt in the MoFi constrained like they were in a silo. And the punch was again staying in the speaker, barely pushes beyond it. And it's more of a hearing experience than a feeling experience. And the guitar solos that are in there just laid, it was like the front of the speaker was like a piece of plexiglass.
Huh. That's not good.
No, it's not good. It reminded me of when you're drumming and you have the plexiglass around you,
Yeah. Yeah.
is what it reminded me of.
Hmm.
And so when we get to the others, the US and the UK EUs, with the latter being even the better, the vocals breathed out a whole lot more and had an openness and ability to crawl the wall with you almost. And the punch got you in the gut. And the guitar solos were rising up and out. They were given almost that shape of that arrow I did, like with the angle on it. It was like they were just kind of whooshing out a bit. So it was just a totally different experience. And again, the difference of hearing something versus feeling something was even more evident, in this song. I believe, which was the next track I did because it's the quietest track. It's got the most vocal echo and the most pronouncement in that. The reduced noise floor helped on the MoFi on that song especially because it is a little more annoying on the US. But the impact of the vocals again is limited and held back where it needs to be open and right at you and in your gut where you feel this song. It's a real strong song of feeling. It's kind of like Woman in Chains,
Hmm.
you know. And the vocals being compressed became fatiguing on this song, where the vocals become most of the song, and it became fatiguing after listening to this, and so really that MoFi really just, yeah, on this song it didn't, other than the noise floor, it didn't give it a big advantage.
Hmm.
Um, Now on the US, it was more evident. The noise floor was a little more annoying, but there again, there was that open and airy sound that really showed on this song that the vocals really kind of soared in the listeners, in your face and up around you in a haunting fashion almost. They just kind of hung in the air, and it created kind of an emotional response. And it was even stronger on the UK and the EU copies. So it really felt like this song really kind of laid in your lap a lot more than the other. So than the MoFi. So and then lastly, Broken and Head Over Heels. Um, I finally wrote the songs of Silo instead of silence. The songs of Silo really walled off and held hostage. I wrote guitar solo impacts just blended with the limited impact where it should have been a very strong impact of the guitar solos here. Whereas with the others, you had really an open blend of punchiness with the guitar solos, again, reaching out a whole lot more and getting to where you could actually feel like the guitar was between you and the speaker. And the flare of the drums that reach above the speakers halfway to the listener created a renewed engagement and awareness in the songs that really brought it closer to you. And again, the EU and the UK were more pronounced even than the US. So I mean, I would say because of the noise improvement on the UK and the EU. And I'd say if I had to give an advantage to the two, I'd say the UK was just a smudge quieter, a smudge better.
Hmm.
And I'm a really small smudge.
Yeah.
uh, but I would give the edge to that one overall. And the MoFi, like I said, really had a very consistently narrow capacity to deliver. And that's all she wrote.
so so what would be, your desert island version then? I mean, it
I would
sounds
I
like
would
it'd
I
be,
would do the UK unless dollars were. I mean, I haven't really looked at that,
yeah,
but I would, let's say the UK was 150 and the EU was 80. I'd probably go with the EU because it was close enough.
yeah,
If
but
if for collectability or value, I might go with the UK.
yeah,
Either one is very 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 satisfying.
kind of that country of origin thing.
Right, right,
Yeah,
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 exactly.
yeah.
So so that's
Interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just waiting for the MoFi to open up, and it never did.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. You know, it sounds like the either the UK, especially, I guess, or the EU sort of checks all the boxes, right?
Yeah,
I mean, as far as, you know, the dynamics, clarity, detail, soundstage, I mean, all the way around, it's
but
there.
now if the MoFi would do a one step on him, I think they could beat it. Given my experience with the Eagles, at least,
Yeah, that would be
that'd be a
that
nice
would
one.
be an interesting choice, and not so out in left field either. I mean,
Right.
their two most recent releases, right, are the Run DMC and the Whitney Houston. I think it's coming out pretty quick.
It's out.
Yeah,
Whitney's out.
so at least they're going into the '80s a little bit, and trying some of those. So
Yeah.
it's not, maybe, perhaps it's not outside the realm of possibility that they could continue to branch out a little bit and
They
do
should
some
just
more of
get it
these
over and
80s.
do this one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
That
because I gotta say, it's a good sounding record. I wouldn't say it's great.
right.
For me, it's a little compressed, but that just could be, it's sort of the modern recording techniques. That's kind of what they do, you
Yeah.
know. Um, so, but
Yeah.
I'd love to see that though. Anyway, at least to
Yeah.
see him
Me too.
give it a try.
Yeah. Well, let me acknowledge some of our people online here.
Yeah.
Someone here from Liverpool. It's a little early in the morning there. Brought a
Wow.
UKLP great condition for over 35 years ago. Great. Glad to hear you found one.
Yeah. Appreciate him
Hey,
joining.
David.
I'm trying some different angles to see if it's
Okay.
any better. It's not really. This is just a
Keeping me
dark
awake
room.
for the last. Well, we'll put you to sleep. Don't worry.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Tears for Fears. Glad to join us. Yeah. I mean, yeah, since the hurting, they put a hurting on my wallet, but that's a whole different story.
They have me
Thanks.
too, believe
Thanks
me.
for Yeah. Thanks for joining everybody.
Because you can also go down to, and you can share a little bit of this, David. You can go down those which is the SDE,
Yes.
the Blu-ray.
The Blu-ray, the 5.1 and the Dolby Atmos and those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are really excellent to get. They're limited though, that's the thing. Cart's
Mhm.
MC, that's a question to you. My cart's a moving magnet, and I think yours is moving magnet.
Same here. Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
It's the
his is a top tier one, I think, in the moving magnet group.
yeah, it's the top of the line of the moving magnet for Ortofon. I think you'd
Yeah.
have to. I mean, one of these days I might try a moving coil. You hear, sort of the buzz in the audiophile world is it's probably, might be a better way to go, but I think you'd really have to
You got
step
to
up,
go up. Yeah, you can't.
way
I
up.
I think the best MM is better than the lowest MC. I think is the basic math, so to speak. I think, but yeah, let's see what else we got going here. Why are you not running tubes?
Yeah, it's the Freya Plus. I remembered it. Yeah, uh, one of these days maybe. Just at this point, I just because that's a big rabbit hole. You can really go down that, tube rolling and all that kind of stuff. But one of these days, I'd like to take a crack at it. Almost maybe even have a separate system,
Yeah, right,
kind of have side by
right.
side because everybody loves that tubiness feet, sound
Yeah,
where it's real warm and whatnot. You got to pair it with the right speakers and whatnot. But one of these days, I might give it a shot.
yeah. I've got to dial in my tube amp and get it into a switch so that I can use it too. I've got a Sherwood, older Sherwood, so
Yeah, yeah.
worth upgrading the MoFi. Well, I would say in this case, at least for mine, I'd say no.
Yeah, stay tuned for the
Yeah, right. Stay tuned for his. Definitely an album I'd like to have the best pressing of. Well, I'd
yeah,
say the ones I'm saying. Made a YouTube about showing this out. Okay, quick spec.
cool.
Great. Congratulations. I'll have
That's
to make
good.
sure to take a look at that.
That's good.
Hello, Mr. Jim. How are you? Thanks for joining.
Welcome.
All right. Well, without further ado,
Mm,
Brad is going to tell you about the methodology he used for Seeds of Love and what he found.
okay.
It's all yours, buddy.
You want to show those slides for
Yeah.
Seeds of
Yeah.
Love. We'll kind of walk through that real quick.
Okay.
Maybe while you're pulling that up, just a little bit of info on Seeds of Love. Of course, this was their third 4-length studio album. It took a year and a half to make. I mean, like an 85 to 89 before they released that. And the actual recording process was about a year and a half, and it reportedly cost over £1 million to make. For a lot of reasons, not the least of which is they hired a lot of session musicians to play on the album, which you got to pay those guys. And if you look at the list of folks that they brought in, they are not cheap, especially the drummers. And I think for David and I both play drums, so I think that was a pretty That's one of the things I really listened to on this album because the drumming is spectacular.
I
Phil
thought drummers
Collins.
got paid the least. I thought drummers got paid the least. What's going on
Well,
here?
that's what I've heard.
That's
And
what I've
it's
experienced.
yeah, no joke. So, Phil Collins plays on Woman in Chains. Manu Katché plays on Bad Man's Song. This is interesting because Simon Phillips is credited, but if you look at the individual tracks, it doesn't tell you which song or songs he played on, which I think is kind of odd. But anyway, and unfortunately, after they toured this album, they actually ended up breaking up right after that tour was completed in 1990, and they didn't do anything again until like 2004. With I forget the name of that album. I have the CD, and it's not one of my favorites. In fact, I'd say it's my least favorite album of theirs.
Elemental, I think.
Oh, is that it?
I think so.
Yeah.
So this should have been called The Seeds of Breakup.
It ended up being that. That's true. Did you get the slides?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, to those in the peanut gallery, I hope this slide with showing an image of where the sound was coming from, I hope that helped, because it took me all of 3 minutes to do it. So,
well, it helped me. I can tell you that. It's
what's
pretty
the old
cool.
saying? A picture tells 1,000 words. I think that's kind of why I thought of it. So anyway,
it
back
does
to
indeed.
Brad. There's whoop. I don't know why it's always skipping too.
That's okay. That's fine.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, you see on the left, this was the comparator, the MoFi. Interesting, these were right in sequence. So you saw earlier, Big Chair was 033, this is 034. They did them right together, released in 2012. David already went through the, sort of the mastering chain on here, keeping in mind that copy being the key word, and I'll kind of come back to that. So that was kind of the base comparator. I think this is a build. So that the next copy that I compared.
Did you want to talk about the mastering statement there by any chance?
No, it's because it's the same as what you went through.
Well, the Tim DeParavinci, he wasn't on mine. He wasn't listed there. He's the guy that developed the Gain 2 and Ultra Analog system for MoFi.
Oh, right.
So he was credited on this album and not credited on the previous one. It was only Paul Stubbleline. So this is one of those things we'll talk later about Discogs and information. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, okay. That's an important point. Yeah. That's what it says in Discogs. It doesn't say that anywhere on the album, at least that I could find.
Right.
So this is the comparator, is the UK original. This came out September 25th, 1989. It's on that blue Fontana label. If you build, it'll show that. And this was, okay, so this is where it gets interesting, is the mastering. So if you look on Discogs, it doesn't say who mastered it. If you look on Wikipedia, or if you look on this box, which I know you can't see that because my lighting's so terrible, but it's the 30th anniversary digital box set. Right on the back, it says original 1989 Bob Ludwig mastering. So I'm sort of going on the assumption that Robert Ludwig did master this. Master disc DMM is in the dead wax. Yeah, there it is. Thanks, David. That's better view of that. And that is in the dead wax, but no RL. But I think most people know by this time he was not initialing everything he mastered. So that's kind of where we're at with that, is sort of under the assumption that this was a Robert Ludwig master. Okay, and then I actually compared a third copy on the next slide, which is the 2020 reissue. So this is the 30th anniversary version. Again, on the Fontana / Mercury label. It's part of UMC now. This one was pressed at Optimal. And you see that black Fontana is kind of a hybrid, if you will, of the original blue Fontana label and the black Mercury from that perspective. And then, interestingly, in the dead wax, it's got the AA which is Alex Abrash, which is doing a lot of the mastering now for Universal, including, let's see, Countdown to Ecstasy and Pretzel Logic for the new Steely Dan, the digital versions. They were mastered by Bernie Grunman, but he's pressing or doing the lacquers, I guess.
Yeah, just to clarify, he did Can't Buy a Thrill in
Yeah,
Pretzel Logic.
yeah, that's right.
Another guy did Countdown to Ecstasy in Europe. So,
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
but yeah, AA, it's got that on it. But in Discogs, it doesn't report it that way because I think they just copied a title to make this new entry and didn't, But I looked on the Dead Wax, and I know that initial from the Steely Dan's, and you saw it as well on yours. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
very
and that's
confident.
yeah, and that's what was kind of confusing is yeah, they copied over the Tim Di Paravicini and the Paul Stubblebean
Yeah.
directly over from the MoFi entry, and that's not the case. Though their names are nowhere on this 2020 reissue. So yeah, I think it is a cautionary tale in Discogs. It's not always 100% accurate.
Discogs is the Wikipedia of vinyl. It's
Yeah,
people's input, and it's garbage in, garbage out, right? I mean, that's the
it's
truth.
that's very true. It's
Yeah.
very true.
Okay.
So okay, so those were the contenders, and I'll just just kind of some overall statements about this, and to me the musicianship on this record was next level, and if you read through there's a really nice book in this CD box set that with interviews with Roland and Kurt,
Yeah.
where they talk about it. And their goal really was to kind of get away from that kind of 80s electronic sound and get more into kind of, analog, real musical instruments, if you will, which I think they really accomplished because to me, they just really took it to the next level. And I think this is very, very well recorded. And Robert Ludwig being the mastering engineer on the original, it appears to be the case. That his work speaks for itself, I think. So I would have to say this is probably my favorite Tears for Fears album, but I have to say Tipping Point is a close second. So just my own.
You've got a lot of nostalgia with this one, so
I
you haven't built up nostalgia yet with Tipping Point.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, I've known this album for a long time, and
Sure.
honestly, it's for me for a long while, it was kind of a demo disc. I mean, I'd use that to demo new equipment. Kind of that CD version was really where I started because I'm kind of a child of the '80s, and I jumped on the CD bandwagon back in the '80s. I got a ton of CDs still. Can't say I listen to them that much anymore, but definitely prefer vinyl nowadays. So what I did not compare to was the US original, which according to Discogs, with all caveats applying, there is a JG in the Dead Wax suggesting that was a Joe Gastwerk master, or at least he cut the lacquer for that.
Right.
So if you're not already confused, the mastering on Seeds of Love is very, very confusing. And I'll come back to that later.
Tell him, Brad, if you'd like to be more confused, I'll send you Joe's email he sent me.
Yeah, which was no help at all.
I reached out to Joe directly to get some. We're trying to get whether this was original digital recording versus analog versus both. A lot of sketchy information.
Yeah, it really is, and I mean that's the other point I'll make is honestly we don't know, and so if you look at the MoFi, it says the 1/2-inch 30 IPS analog copy, but what does that mean? That could have been copied from a digital tape, which they were doing in the late '80s, probably to DAT, if anybody remembers that format.
That's right.
And however, if you look in this box where there's an interview with Steven Wilson, who did the 5.1 remix on the Blu-ray in here, he talks about trying to find the right master tapes and bake them, which sounds more like normal reel-to-reel analog tapes. So what happened? Did they do an analog and a digital at the same time, a la Alan Parsons' Eye in the Sky?
Right.
Apparently they did that. They recorded it both ways, right?
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly.
So
Because the CD for Seeds of Love shows DDD.
that's right. That's right. So it makes you, so what's the truth here? Maybe both are true. And really, I think at the end of the day, the only person we could ask that would probably know is Robert Ludwig, and he's retired. He's not talking to anybody. So we're just left to kind of speculate, I think. So I'll leave that at that. So getting to the shootout methodology. So I listened to it all the way through, like David did on Big Chair. Picked out a few tracks that I felt like would be the best to sample. I picked 4. I don't think anybody will be surprised. It's the first 4 songs off of side 1, because I think for me, they're the best songs. And there's so much complexity and detail in those songs. I think they just really stuck out. So that's Woman in Chains, Bad Man's Song, Sowing the Seeds of Love, and Advice for the Young at Heart. So this was a 4-person review in my house. So it was myself, my wife, my 25-year-old son, and my 22-year-old daughter who were in town. And I think what's a little bit different from what most people do is the 3 of them were blinded to which record was being played. So I knew, obviously, because I was changing the records, but they did not know. So they had no idea which of the 3 copies were being played.
Did you say you blindfolded them? I didn't pick up on that.
No, just blinded. They couldn't see.
I was confused. This Woman in Chains thing and now blindfolding. I didn't
know. Oh, don't go there. No, don't go there. So what I did, and I unlike David, which I think this is the strength, frankly, of a lot of his shootouts, is being able to switch back and forth 2 identical turntables, 2 identical cartridges, same phono preamp. I don't have that. So what I did was I played about the first minute and a half or so of each song, really for pretty much through the first verse and chorus, plus or minus, to just kind of get a feel, and then would rapidly switch between them. So that's kind of the methodology. I definitely did. We used the same assessment criteria, and all 3 of the records were volume matched appropriately. And I'll kind of talk about that a little bit. So let me go through these one by one. So I'll start with the UK original from 1989. Again, probably mastered by Robert Ludwig. In terms of surface noise, this was very, very good. I would, on David's scale, 1 to 9, I would give it a 8, because I was able to get a near mint copy of that, which I did not have up until a few months ago. And it was just, really clean. So I think what surprised all of us overall was the detail and the clarity was just there. I mean, my daughter actually described it as it seemed more intimate in a lot of ways, but it punched hard when it needed to. So it was just the right balance between the sort of the subtle nuances and having that drive and punch that you're looking for, which in audio file speak is the dynamics are there in spades. So, imaging, soundstage, top notch. We all gave them a 9. It's a fantastic copy. Really no sibilance at all. The punch again was there. The bass was right. And, when I listen to, particularly a song like Woman in Chains, I mean, I really focus in on the vocals, because you've got Oleta Adams, her beautiful soaring voice on that song is just, everything is right in the pocket, right where it should be. It's out front where it should be, but it's not too aggressive, not too hot. It's not shrill or bloated. And, as a drummer also, I listen for percussion, and there's a triangle in that song in the first verse that's kind of ding, ding, ding,
Oh
ding,
yeah.
ding, ding, all the way through.
Yep.
And you should be able to pick that out. If if
Yeah.
the imaging is right and it's detailed, you should pick that out. And I mean, it was right there. You could hear it clear as a bell through that first verse. It was just fantastic. Um, that arpeggiated guitar that comes in I think in the second verse, just clear as a bell when it comes in. I love how the multi-layered textures of this song are just fantastic. And so the other thing we really noticed was, there's a tambourine and some congas on Advice for the Young at Heart. Really clear, really precise, right where they're supposed to be. And that opening intro to Badman's song, where Manu Katché is just showing off like just ridiculous. It sounds fantastic. I mean, that's what a drum kit should sound like to me on a recorded album. It's right where it needs to be. So, to say the least, we were very impressed with the UK original. So the next one was the Mo-Fi, the silver label. So that one actually had to turn it up. In my case, it was about a dB softer than the UK original. And I'll be honest, I had not really heard very good things about it, but I thought it was better than I thought it would be. There was a little bit of sibilance in some spots on this one. It was punchy, but not near as punchy as the original. The tambourine on Sowing the Seeds of Love was not as near as distinct as it was on the UK original. And the other thing I think all of us noticed, it just didn't seem to have the same overall presence on Woman in Chains as the UK original.
Just like I
So
believe. Yeah, I believe it was the same thing.
yeah, and I think your graphic maybe showed what I'm talking about, better than I can describe. And it really is just that presence of kind of opening up that sound stage more, which the UK original does, but the Mo-Fi does not. Yes,
Oh,
it was Jason. Yeah,
yeah, it was. Yeah, and even the drummer on the other song, Bad Man. I mean, he was fabulous.
he played that.
As close as you get.
Yeah, if I'd have closed my eyes, I'd have swore it was Manu Katché playing it. I mean,
And the guy had a long sleeve shirt on, and I was thinking, oh, I'd be dying up there, man.
Yeah, he was ridiculous. I mean, yeah, incredible musician.
It was a great concert. It was a really great concert.
It really was.
Thanks, Jason, for joining us, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, Jason.
Today and at the concert.
Yeah, exactly. It was a good time. It was a good time in Austin.
It was.
Barbecue beforehand. I mean,
yeah.
You just can't beat it.
Don't talk about finding parking, though. I don't want to talk about.
No, don't go. That's the
sore spot.
That's a sore spot. That's right.
But anyway, yeah, go on, Brett.
Yeah. So finally, the 2020 reissue. That one actually was about 2 dB softer. Mm-hmm. So really had to kind of turn that one up. And I got to say, it's funny. I remember getting it initially, and I didn't compare to anything, and I was like, "Gosh, this is not very good, really." And now, in doing it in a shootout, going back and forth, it's worse than I thought. It kind of has that. It's got that kind of that wall of sound, like you described, that plexiglass kind of feel to it. That's exactly, I mean, that's a great visual for kind of what we heard. I mean, the bass was kind of flat and muddy. It was pretty easy on the ears, I guess. But I gotta say that one more than any of them sounded digital to me. Just, there was the dynamics weren't there. It's all one.
I think that's all Alex Abrash deals in.
That's what I think. I mean, that's what I've heard. I don't have the digital Steely Dan's he did, but I've heard that from you and from others. Advice from the Young at Heart was thin and lifeless, just no spark, and it just kind of My wife made the comment when we listened to Woman in Chains that she was like, well, this sounds pretty good at the beginning before the vocals started.
Yeah.
And then the instruments just got lost in everything. So there's just no instrument separation there at all. And, and these are comments from people that they're not audiophiles. They're just telling me what they hear,
Or
you
don't
know,
hear.
or don't hear in an unbiased way. And again, they
Yeah.
had no idea which one was playing. And so, I think you can figure out for us really it was not that close. The UK OG for us was the clear winner. I mean, we all agreed it was much better than any of those. Now the funny thing is, second place was a little bit more controversial. So my son and I liked the MoFi better than the 2020, whereas my wife and my daughter liked the 2020 better overall. So, different ears, different, they had no idea again which one.
Well,
Um,
here's the thing though. There's a little bit of a softness to the 2022,
yeah, yeah,
I would call it. And when I listened to it, and it was funny because I did a shootout locally with Tears for Seeds for Love, and I was like, because the others were so good. I don't have the UK, but I have an EU of it, and that one was so good and so sharp that when the other one in 2020 I played it, it was kind of a little bit relaxing in a way. It was
yeah.
kind of like it wasn't that I wanted to listen to it. It was like, oh, okay, it had a little bit of that Pretzel Logic UHQR feel to it, I guess, um, which is patent pending, by the way. You can't use that anyway. That's
Oh,
my.
okay. Well,
But
that's kind of what we thought too, is, I mean, it is easy on the ears, and maybe that's why they liked it. Because, my wife and my daughter are always the ones that are turn it down,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, right.
and so here, I'll just close with this. And I think this is the best thing that you could say about any of these. Out of all three, the UK original was the one that we wanted to keep playing. So every time, I took that one off and switched to another one, they were like, oh gosh, I want to go back to that one. That one's so good. And that's the best thing you can say. Which one do you want to listen to at the end of the day? Which one do
Right.
you pull off the shelf? And that's the clear winner, at least in my house with our ears on my system. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Excellent. That's it. Excellent. So as I put there in the banner, I guess the UK originals win the day. I think, and we didn't tell each other what our conclusions were. This is the
No,
first I've heard, and it's first he heard of mine as well. By the
that's
way,
right.
just a
That's
little
right.
game we play.
Yeah.
I tried to get it out of him, but he wouldn't do it.
No, I would not break no matter what. So
Yeah.
I think Michael 45 would be happy with our results, don't you think?
Well, I can tell you, like I tell everybody, it's like it is what it is, and I don't. How do I put it? We do it because it's what makes sense. It's purely what we hear. Now that doesn't mean somebody else doesn't hear it different. It doesn't
Yep.
mean I've experienced that, and it's not always a right and wrong at all. I mean, equipment
No.
makes a difference, room makes a difference, your hearing makes a difference, but clearly this is what we. I don't know why someone's calling me that I don't know.
At the best time possible.
At the best time possible.
It's
But
like, don't you get it? I'm doing a live stream right now.
yeah, I don't know if they know. Who knows? I don't. Well, I will tell you this though. During this show, something happened. Do you know what happened, Brad? Can you guess
Uh,
what happened?
I got to say, I have no idea. Three, yes.
I'm over 3,000.
Congratulations.
Thanks. We talked about whether, and I didn't want to show it when I hit 3,000 because somebody could unsubscribe and then I'm back to I'm moving
No,
backward.
no,
But thank you.
nobody's going to do that.
So we're going to be, so I am going to do something special for those of you that are on the live stream. This won't be applicable to those who watch it later. To those who are on the live stream, I'm going to put my email up. And if you email me, I'm going to have a drawing for someone to win the tipping point with a 7-inch single. So you will get one
Can't
of
see them.
these. So I'm going to put my email address down there, and anybody that's on this show can. All you have to do, put in the subject, put Texas Shootout in the subject. That's what I'll need. I'll put a banner up here for you, and we'll do something fun.
Yeah, and I really hope somebody gets that doesn't have it
Right.
already.
And if you don't,
And
if you do have it, we'll talk about something else. I'll give you something else. Okay. You know,
yeah,
we'll do something else for you.
it's it's of course it's definitely different from either the ones we talked about or the one that came out in '04. I can't remember the title of, but it's it's still them. It's still great songwriting, great musicianship, song structure. It's a fantastic album, really. If you haven't listened to it, stream it, give it a shot, and I think you might like it. If you're a Tears for Fears fan and you've never
Right.
listened to it,
Yeah.
you should give it a chance. It's very,
Yeah.
very good. I will say, when I first listened to it, I did not like it. So, um,
Yeah, me too. I just said it in my video. Yeah,
yeah,
Novus Nick, we're gonna actually have you email me Texas Shootout in the subject. I'm not gonna let you be lazy here and do that. What
nope.
do you? Come on, dude. Come on, I'm gonna make you work just a little bit, just a
Just a
little
little.
bit, just a little bit.
There's no free lunch here. Well, sort of free, but
Yeah. So anyway, so this will begin. I'll be announcing a special broadcast for my 3K party, as I'm going to call it, and we'll be having some great prizes coming through there. And what we'll do is the winners will be first one to win. We'll have the first selection of what's in the pot. And again, I want to work with you. If you have something, if you had everything that was in the pot, we'll add something to the pot that isn't that you don't have. I don't want anybody to be getting something that they already have. So we'll try to make it fun for everybody. But and it's views is what matters, obviously. But the fact that 3,000 people were dumb enough to click that, I mean, that were nice enough to click. That's it. Go down to 29.98, David. Go
yeah,
down.
yeah, you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
lost it,
yeah,
man.
yeah. I did lost it. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I appreciate it very much. But this has been fun. We have we're gonna one of the ones we're gonna try to do, and it may take us a month or two to do because we have to pull in a third person into a trifecta for Yes. We
Yes.
want to do one with the Yes album, Close to the Edge, and Fragile. And if we can get Mr. Jason Rojas to join us for that, and bring one of his copies into this when he gets it back from his multi-state storage system that he has. He just moves stuff from state to state so that feds can't find him. So
Yeah, I tell you, I think that one will be really, really fun. I mean, those are, classic albums. There's a lot of different pressings of those.
yeah,
Over the years, there's been several audiophile versions. So I think that one's going to be very, very interesting.
I have a goal on this one. Now I haven't even told you this.
Ooh, okay.
My goal is because I have someone who's a friend of this person is to get John Anderson on the show,
Oh,
the lead
wow.
singer of Yes,
Oh, that would be the original lead
yes,
singer.
original
Yes,
lead singer.
that
Yeah,
would be awesome.
yeah,
I
yeah,
I don't know if I'd be able to handle it, man. That'd be too much star power for me.
yeah. Well, don't worry, we're gonna get you a light so he knows who the hell you are.
Okay,
Right,
that'll be good.
right now we think you're in a government program of
I
some kind,
I
and
know.
and
I'm such an amateur. I don't have my own YouTube channel though, so I just join yours from time to
you're not gonna get one this way. I can tell you that.
time. No, I know. People are going to go, man. I can't even see this guy. It's just a
Well, and mine's so bright, it's just a contrast, right? It's
yeah. It's like this amorphous blob talking over here. I don't know what it is.
yeah, that would be called blobbering.
Yeah. Good
He'll say,
evening, Mr. Anderson. Yes, nice
mm-hmm.
Matrix. Yes, reference.
Okay.
Right
Thank
on,
you.
Jason.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Jason.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
if there's a copy you don't have, Jason, of course
we'll send it to you.
we're more than willing to share. So we're all inclusive.
Yeah. So I guess we would both say that if you were waiting on or thinking of getting the MoFis, you might be better served to, in these cases, get the originals, or like I said, even that EU press isn't as expensive as the UK one. So
Yep.
look it up. I mean, those are usually those Netherlands ones are pretty, reasonable, 20, $30 max.
Well,
So
hopefully we saved somebody some money because those MoFis are not cheap.
yeah.
You
And their
look on.
value is now going down. But anyway,
Well,
as we speak, we have single-handedly.
we torpedoed them.
Yeah, that's okay, because guess what, MoFi? I can give you a count of people who have told me, based on my review of Hotel California, that they ordered their copy. So
There you go. You've
I'm
paid
on
them
the
back.
I'm on the flip side there. By the way,
Which
I'm going to be doing a video on this. I've almost got it done. This thing to MoFi is due by the 21st. If you want to
oh
return
yeah.
any, it's got to be in by the 21st. Okay. It's
I
called audiofilesettlement.com.
and you just go in there and fill in the information. Do you have to like upload your receipts and stuff like that,
Not
or
receipts, pictures.
pictures? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get on that. I got a couple I want to send in, but not this one.
Hey,
Can't see
Jason.
it, but
Yeah, you were on Jason was on another show earlier. I saw him.
yeah.
He's been getting around. That's good. I'm glad to see that. So that, kind of what we came up with. It's interesting to do these and fun. It's that if you get to a point where you can have a switch, Brad, I can tell you that the feedback is so immediate. The being able to know what the difference is. It's like, where is that triangle? I can hear it, on this one. And
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, I was curious on that one because it is so pronounced. Do you think it was? I mean, that's a fairly quiet passage that happens in, so it really couldn't be mid ranges overriding it or anything, right? It
No,
just,
I just think, it was kind of on the 2020, of course you could hear it, but it just wasn't that distinct. And then once the vocal started, at least for us, it just got lost. Whereas the UK, I mean, you could hear it all the way through, even when Roland sings his part and then Olita sings her part, you could still hear it going.
mhm,
And that's what I want to hear. Like I want to hear what's there and what's supposed to be there. And
mhm.
it's supposed to be there because that's the original.
Yeah.
So, so you get something new and all of a sudden you can't really hear that, and it's kind of lost in the mix, if you will. That's it's not right.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know.
No, I get you. Yeah, I've got an EU of it, and it's there. It's very present in the EU version. Like
Yeah.
Holland, so yeah. So I mean, that's definitely what it is.
Yeah. That's a good one. Oh.
Thanks. No, appreciate it. Yeah. Well, it's fair, steady growth, and that's good. It's yeah, and Jason, I wish you well on your journey. It's a fun journey. Don't let it get you down. But you've got a good start, and I think being tied in with others will really help that as time goes on. And I'm going to be trying in my videos now to feature a channel pretty much every video I release. I'm going to start doing that so that I can give other people some visibility. So, Jason, I know I'll be featuring yours in the next few videos as well. So, it's just the way you pay it forward, kind of thing.
It's a
So
good thing
that's
to
what we
do.
got for you, gang. If there's any other, yeah, you guys have any thoughts on what you might want to hear a shootout about or for, let me know. Don't, it's a matter of what we have material wise or what we have access to. But
Oh, hey, if you don't, it's just an excuse to buy something.
yeah,
That's okay.
well,
Not like I need an excuse to buy more records, but.
I don't know if the light will show this or not, but this is translucent. Let me see my light here. Is it up here? Yes, it is for a change. So this is
Oh yeah.
this is pretty in pink, and the
Oh,
record is pink. The vinyl translucent is pink.
so they did that on the Quiets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a pink color.
Nice. That's a good soundtrack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I got it today for it. Those aren't that easy to find. I got it for $20.
No, that's real good. That's real good. And it's funny because that's kind of, it seems like in the mid 80s was
Yeah,
when at least A&M and there may have been a couple of other labels were starting to put out some of, Quiet
yeah.
versions,
A&M was big. Yeah.
of records because, they could see the writing on the wall with CDs and they wanted to kind of continue the vinyl momentum. And
Right.
boy, there's some of those that are really good.
Oh yeah.
Like I think there's a Van Halen 1984 Quiet
Yeah,
version,
there is. Yeah.
which I've always been interested in. I've never heard one. I think Melinda might have gotten one from Patrick maybe on one of his auctions or something, and she thought very highly of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, very true, Jason.
Yeah. Here's another one I got today. This is a sealed copy of The Guitar Man by Bread.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I've
nice
got a
one.
copy, but to be honest with you, I've probably worn it out. So I'll gift it to somebody and open it. $2.99 to Sound Warehouse. I remember those days.
Yeah, yeah, I do too. I remember Sound Warehouse too.
Oh yeah. Bought a
Yeah.
lot of vinyl. Bought a lot of vinyl at Sound Warehouse. My God.
I got so the one time I saw REM in concert was in Dallas in like 90, I don't know, 4 or 5, somewhere around there on the Monster tour. And I
Oh,
remember
okay.
going to a Sound Warehouse, and this is old school, getting concert tickets, having to go get in line. They give out
Mm,
wristbands, but then
yeah.
the scalpers would bus in a bunch of homeless people to get the wristbands and get a front row, a front of the line spot. They'd feed them and do all of that, and then they'd get just by chance
But
alone,
see,
you
yeah.
know,
At
uh,
Sears,
you
I
know.
bought ticket. I used to buy tickets like that at Sears. They had a rule that if you came to the window, you had to have teeth. So it was
No such rule at Sound Warehouse for REM tickets in '94 or whenever that was.
yeah, I guess I have one. I only have one, two, three, four people in the contest for the thing. Again, if you send an email, doesn't have to have any content, just subject Texas Shootout. Email it to that address, David at safeandsoundtexas.com, and I will be having a drawing. I will videotape it and put it online and show you the drawing and the name and who was in, and we'll do that. And then either you'll get the tipping point one that I have, or if you already have it, we'll talk about something else. So that's what we'll do. When I wear an
Free final.
played it straight through to the other side, can almost hear both sides at the same time. Yeah, yeah. Well, don't worry if you're using a Crosley, you're already digging grooves. You're already
Ain't that the
you
truth?
you are a record manufacturer.
That's your cutting lathe,
You are
right?
cut. Yeah, you are cutting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Now, is that the UHQR or the regular one? Because I've got both.
Yeah, I don't have the UHQR. The regular is good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I wanted a bid on the Canadian one the other day, but I got tied up with something
Mm.
else. Okay.
Yeah, that's that Canadian audiophile series, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
They used
Exactly.
the JVC Super Vinyl too, didn't
Yes.
they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call them the Canadian MoFi is what they were.
Yeah, that's true.
They got some licensing rights there for some things that we didn't get in the U.S.
Yeah. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it really is.
Yeah, no,
You
it
know,
is. Yeah, it is.
yeah,
It's one
it's
of
true.
it was one of the best kept secrets around now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Herb Alpert Rise I got on that sounds Fabulous.
Oh yeah, that's the one
Oh
I
yeah.
found for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
The
I'm yeah.
I was thinking about back to those mid 80 Quiexes. I mean, I think a lot of people are familiar with the Police Synchronicity. That's a
Yeah.
pretty well known.
Yeah.
They got the Quiex copies
It's
of
either
those. Those sound
brown, it's
great.
either yeah, brown or purplish color, one
Yeah,
of the two
brown or
most of them.
purple. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Some of the REM records are like that too. I think
Yeah.
Reckoning is like Murmur,
Well,
maybe like that
if they're
too.
yeah. KRWD, yeah, I did get my MoFi from Music Direct. I ordered it, I think, November 11th, 2021.
Same here.
So
Yep.
I buy from Music Direct because they don't charge you until they ship it.
Mine's still sealed.
It's still sealed.
I just got home yesterday, being out of town, and it was waiting for me here. So I got number 216.
There we go. A hello to Jason. Yeah. Well,
The regular. Yeah.
regular version. Okay. Well, the UHQR's no slouch. Uh, at least Maslow isn't. Oh my goodness.
Mass.
He could be lurking.
One never knows.
Yeah, they do have them. They do have them.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I see people are getting them now. They're getting, numbers in the 2,000-3,000 ranges now.
Yeah.
So, because mine was 334. What's yours, Brad?
Uh,
Not that it matters, guys. I realize.
no, it doesn't matter. Mine's
No.
216.
216. What do you mean? I ordered mine, but what? No. Anyway, I said it
I was
didn't matter.
quicker
What
on
do
the
you say?
draw, man. It's just like, quick draw.
Quick draw McGraw.
Yeah.
You see, I got to take that thing down. You can't see my shirt. I'll just sit up. It's easier. See what it says? Better together.
Better together. There you go.
Yeah. That was the original title of Happy Together, and they changed it. So.
Ah, okay. would have been better the other way, maybe. I don't know.
There should be some more Eagles one steps left. I think I think it will sell out too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I've never seen feeding. I mean, I've gotten so many comments of people. Once in a while, a person will say, "I've heard that album so many times. God knows I don't need another copy." And that's true. I mean, it was played to death. There's no doubt about it.
Well, it's a classic. I mean, it really
I've
is.
been waiting. I mean, I've been waiting almost 50 years, 46 years, 47 years for that to sound like I knew it could.
Yeah, it's amazing how like I say, I haven't listened to mine. All I'm going on.
No mofo for me. What? Who called Nick a mofo?
Who's a mofo? I don't know.
Who called Nick a mofo?
I don't know, Nick. It's I can't. I haven't listened to it yet, but I mean, I keep seeing good review after good review after good review. I don't know.
Were those in the same box, Music Sanctuary? I'm kind of curious. Were they? Did they? I guess did they get shipped from the same place? I guess they did.
Who knows how the boxing process goes on that?
Yeah.
The actual, when they put them in the, in the boxes to ship out, they just probably grab them from here, grab them from there.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Wow. 341. I got 334. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does make me look forward to the long run, I have to say.
Yeah.
I think all of the the ones before Hotel California are great. I like the long run a lot. I think it's a little more inconsistent for me, at least. I don't like every song on there, but the ones I like a lot. So I'm really looking forward to that one too.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that one has some potential too from the recording.
Yeah, and I think the original sounds pretty good. I want to say it was Ted Jensen, maybe.
Sterling.
Yeah, Sterling mastered that one.
There's a guy.
Good.
There's a nice guy. I've emailed him several times. He's
really
a nice guy. Yeah, really nice. Very helpful. Yeah. So this weekend I'm going to San Antonio and I'm picking up a lot of about 218 records that are all quadraphonic, CD4 quadraphonic, Japanese and US. And I'm going to the show, the record show in San Antonio this weekend too. So really
Yeah.
out of the blue, but couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jason's in
Jason.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll look forward to your shootout, man.
yeah,
Because Jason has the same methodology you do. He's got two
yeah.
identical
Right,
tables and he can just
right.
go back and forth. So there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of, credibility with that, just going back and forth, like you said.
Who did the dirty work? Yeah, I don't know. At that time when Trilogy came out, because I had that one, I actually sold it. To be honest with you, I just never listened to it. So I said somebody else could enjoy this more than me.
Yeah, if who was doing their mastering in the '90s? I mean, it wasn't Stan Ricker, it wasn't Krieg Wunderlich yet. I don't
Mm,
think. So, I mean, do you know David who's doing
yeah,
it?
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
Um, Man, there were two different guys that were doing it at that time in that time space. Just their name escapes me for some reason.
yeah, yeah. It's a good question, though. I mean, I feel like they were a lot more sort of inconsistent during those years.
Yeah.
Um, at
Well,
least
then they
that's been
start.
my experience. Some of them were really good. Some of them, not so much.
Okay, so that one was mastered by Ken Lee. Ken Lee, 95.
Wow. Yeah.
I think they
Never
might have
heard of
just
them.
been dragging people in off the street at that point, doing a lot.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
they
it
were,
could be.
and they were
Yeah.
going into that Anadisc thing, the 200 gram, which weren't that great actually.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Jack Hunt. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, not this one.
Yeah. Because
Jack
he
Hunt
did
did.
some of those.
He did the Nautilus. He did a lot of the Nautilus. But
Mm.
yeah, this one was Ken. This one happened to be Ken Lee. Nope, 17,500, Nick. Really weird number, but that's what it is.
Yeah. I'm not sure what long run, if it's the same or maybe a little bit
It's
less.
less. It's
Is it
less.
less than
It's
that?
12. It's either 12,500 or 15,000. I can't
Okay.
remember.
Yeah. Makes sense. Hotel California would be the
California
highest
is
number.
the Asia of Steely Dan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, yeah, good analogy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were. Yeah, that whole. Yeah, after the '80s, it was really. Well, let's face it. Vinyl was, limping along a bit at that
Yeah.
point.
Well, even MoFi was focused on CDs at that
Well,
point
yeah,
with
they
the
were
gold
starting.
CDs,
Well, yeah, they started. Yeah, and they
you know.
they did I mean, that first that Petty Full Moon Fever was a DSD. It was
Mm.
a it was when DSD was in beta with Sony. I mean, so I mean, they've been in bed with that process from way early. But
Yeah.
then somebody went, we could use that on vinyl.
Yeah. At some point.
Yeah, or somebody did. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
With the yeah, I agree. I mean,
Agree.
I saw one bad review today or yesterday that somebody gave it a. Of course, he thought the one of these nights was a tonal nightmare. I think he wrote, and I'm like, what record are you listening to? I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
I
that was not my experience,
But
but
it's like everybody's different.
yeah,
Okay, but I mean, he
that's
loved the
okay.
first record. He loved the first record.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just, but it's okay. I mean, I mean, let's face it, guys. I mean, the overwhelming, information on that is it's great. I mean, yeah, I haven't seen really anybody say, that it was beaten by anything. Of
Mhm.
course, he didn't seem to care for the Kevin Gray even 20. So I guess that might have been a good indicator, right?
Yeah, yeah, that
Because
one
that's a
sounds really
that's a
good.
pretty strong contender. And if it was $30, your dollar for value, it's really up there. But it ain't. It's not $30 anymore. So
No, not anymore.
Yeah, so you can't, so I think it's worth the worth the if you it's the old deal. If you really like that album, if it's one of your favorites, then somebody today showed a graphic, a spectrum analyzer of Can't Buy a Thrill, and said they topped off the highs on that one too.
Hmm. I
I'm
didn't
like,
see that.
I'm like, okay.
Well, I don't hear it.
I don't hear it either.
I
But
mean,
again, we always must remember the first four letters of analyzer are okay.
good point.
Yeah. Oh, you got the SACD of it. Okay, good.
Hmm. I've been curious about that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the way to go. I agree with Jason. It's, sometimes the OGs do win, like today,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
they
at least
yeah.
to us, but sometimes
Right.
the audiophiles win. It really is case by case. It's so true.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about snake oil, and I think about I used to put, and I've got labels on some of my records. And if you've ever used record preservative,
Mhm.
this is the same stuff. It was called Soundguard. Came out in the 70s by Ball Corporation, the company that makes those jars, like for canning. Ball
Yeah.
Corporation.
Yeah. Hmm.
So there was a chemical mixture that was tested in one of the early NASA flights when they did lab experiments up there,
Yeah.
and this came down as a protectant. And Ball Corporation formulated it to put it on records. You sprayed it on after you cleaned the record, and you put it on there, and it created a layer or a coating on there to protect the needle, to protect the vinyl from the needle. And they even claimed that, if you, they even did this, they did tests where they did repeated plays of the same record with Soundguard and with not having Soundguard. And, they said, oh, we played this record consecutively for 3 days. And then they played the one that didn't have it. And you could hear highs cut off. You could hear, you could hear the difference in the spectrum analyzer. And the Soundguard record sounded just like it did the first day.
Huh.
And I'll tell you, I
Wow.
swore by the stuff. I
You
tried to
still
buy
use
it.
it, right?
I do last. I use last. Yeah, last is basically the same thing.
Same stuff. And
Yeah.
you do it like right when you buy one, right? You
After I've
treat
cleaned
it
it.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
After I clean it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, I mean, nobody plays this over and over and over. I mean, but it was just to prove a point kind of thing.
yeah.
Diamond versus plastic. Something's going to happen,
Although I have played this one over and over and over again.
I
I
don't,
have to
that looks like the Black Album. I can't tell what that is.
that's tipping point.
Oh, Tipping Point. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I have played that a lot because
Have you? Okay.
it's really good.
A lot of record chains in the 70s refused to go head over heels for MoFis. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had to go to an audiophile store that sold equipment to get my MoFis, to be honest.
Was that the same with like the Nautilus and the Super Disc, some of those others too?
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Yes.
it
Oh,
was.
yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I understand that those all come off the same master when they make the SACD. So, that's what
But I
I've been
guess
told.
I guess the difference though is that DSD on an SACD is one time,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's
It's 1X, right. It's
one X
64.
DSD,
It's
whereas
64. Yep.
it's a DSD 256
Right.
transferred to the vinyl one step.
Right.
So
Yeah, it can't help but be stepped down because DSD's, 1 bit.
yeah,
So that's true,
yeah,
but it is the same master. But what happens to it because of that bit loss is, going to
yeah,
have some effect. And I'll tell you, there have been some of the DSD 64s that I didn't think sounded that great.
yeah,
So all the 256s pretty much have.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah, we got that. I already talked about that.
I saw
Okay.
Music Sanctuary. I saw somebody. Yeah, I saw something. Somebody said the same thing that the Japanese sounds better than the MoFi.
Okay.
Incidentally, speaking of SACD, probably can't see this, and I'm sorry, but this is the
Tears for, oh, that song's from Big Chair.
yeah, this is a Japanese SACD. So Acoustic Sounds had these a couple of weeks ago, and they may still have them, but this sounds really good for a digital copy of that. If folks are into SACDs or whatever, this is really, really good.
Are those like $60?
Yeah, it was like $60 because they're imported. They will not work on, oh, what is it?
Oppo? No.
Oh, Oppo will play anything. Oh, I know I think there's no CD layer on this. It's
Right.
only SACD.
Right. It's not a hybrid.
Yeah, it's not a hybrid. So that's what it is.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jason. I don't know what
Yeah.
that, like I said, the guy that posted on,
Fake
saw
news,
that.
maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe. Fake chart.
Could
This
be
is
from
your
anything.
brain. This is your, oh, hey, John, how's it going, buddy? This is your brain on drugs, you know.
I like that, Mr. Bianco.
yeah.
Respect. Nice.
Yeah, I get no respect. My twin brother forgot my birthday.
Yeah, that's what this is. SHM.
Yeah, and I've got a Fleetwood Mac. I think I showed you a couple of them. A Fleetwood Mac Rumors
Mm-hmm.
and a Nightfly.
Oh, a Nightfly. How's that Nightfly?
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's all, it's digital from the base, so it's much more inherent, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I will say, this, you can put it up, David, so people can see it if you want to. But this Seeds of Love 30th anniversary box set.
And when they had these were really cheap at Acoustic Sounds. That's where I got mine at.
Yeah, you paid more than I did.
I paid more than you did?
You did. Or I paid more than you did.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. But
it's $51.99, regular $80.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good deal for that because there's 5 discs.
And they still have them, and they still have the SHM of Big Chair.
Oh, great. Yeah, pick those up if you're into digital copies of things, because the Steven Wilson mix 5.1 on this is very good. It's different. You can't compare. It's apples to oranges, but it's a really cool listening experience where
I got
it. Because Seeds of Love is especially those songs, Sowing the Seeds of Love, there's so much going on there. And to have those instruments, kind of pulled out in different channels is really, really cool.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah. I've heard that before too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the SHM, I think that's a different process.
Well, I kind of go back to, the Japanese know what they're doing with SACD. They invented it. So it's like, they
you want to eat sushi? You want to eat sushi? Yeah. So it's, but yeah, they're single layer discs,
Yeah.
And that's the thing about them. Yeah, you can actually filter on Acoustic Sounds and get only those. In other words, it'll only show you those.
Oh, the SHM ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. I just put up the link to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but this is a really good copy of that. If you don't have it, it's pretty.
I don't. I probably
good.
Need to get that one.
Yeah, be a completist. Get them all.
How many copies of Fill in the Blank do you need?
We don't want to go there, man.
Yeah, that's the old story, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So I don't know if Novus Nick is still there, but he he set up a camera now and a new mic, and do you have a light that you could loan to Brad? he's on a really strict budget right now. And so,
Yeah, it's this damn power grid, I tell you.
you get one of these, just get like I have, just these
Oh,
work really well.
okay. I need to
Charge it with
invest.
a USB.
So by the time we do the yes trifecta, I'll have better lighting. I guarantee it. How's that?
Wow.
Or is the Men's Warehouse guy says, I
I
guarantee it.
guarantee it. I
Yeah.
guarantee it. I'm out of business. I guarantee it. Is that a bedroom toy?
Ooh. Wow.
Can be. Can be.
One never knows.
These are magnetized, and you put them like, they just stick wherever you put them. They're really cool. When you have a power outage, these are really nice. You just go around the house and stick them and stuff.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. So I mean, but the problem is it's bright. That one's really bright, so it's it's overpowering at times.
Yeah, and you've got a circle light on you, right?
It's actually a rectangular one.
Oh, okay.
It's a portable rectangular one.
Well, it looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good in uniform,
Oh yeah, Nick. I think Nick was telling me that he bought that equipment and had a problem with it.
Oh,
Nick.
bummer.
He said a quarter of it was out, so they should have just gave you 25% back. No,
It's true. Sword fight with glowing condoms.
Glowing condoms. Wow.
I don't remember that one.
Wow, I guess that would be involved with the glow job then. I guess
I guess so. So was that before or after Three's Company? I wonder.
Hey, AJ in Nashville, how you doing? I met him through the OBC, I think. Good to catch you there.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go back and watch this when it's posted and see what our final analog production SACs aren't that great either. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the AP version. I have the 30th anniversary SACD version.
I don't know which one I have. I have to look.
I mean, it's in a kind of a standard jewel case, not kind of
I bought it from Analog
bigger
Productions, but I don't have to.
Yeah. Supposedly they're somebody said they're the same master, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Oh, well, that's nice.
Wow. Yeah, now you know why they discounted them, because 60% of them don't work. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what Bob Ross used to call that is a happy accident.
Yeah.
The painter guy.
Yeah, I know. Happy accident.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that can happen. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to wrap things up. I appreciate you all coming out, and those of you. So what I'll do again, those of you that entered the contest, I will do a video and pull a winner out of that group, and you can see it, and I'll contact you then with a reply, and then you can send me your mailing address, and I'll send it anywhere. I don't know if you people live here or wherever. It doesn't matter to me. So I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate getting the subs. Keep your eye open for a notice on our 3K party, and there'll be a lot given away there as well. Some really out of print stuff will be given away. So
intriguing.
that's all I'm going to say. So I hope you guys can join. But anyway, Brad, thanks again for your time and all you did with this. I appreciate it very much. Great getting with you.
Yep.
And everybody have a safe weekend, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you, David. It was big fun.
It was.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, everybody. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.